Well, we had a completely different version, and then this happened. Hello, everyone. I am Becca Random 42, the one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube consumer advocate, Harpy. And like I said, all set to go with the Kathleen Kennedy video talking about a lot of the same stuff we already talked about until this one new bit of information dropped, and it's a doozy. It's a big one. So we got backup. Who are you? Why are you here?
Hi, I'm Robot Shlomo, Midnight Edge, Midnight Edge After Dark, my own channel, Robot Shlomo. I'm everywhere you want to be, a few places you don't. I'm here because, damn it, we knew this was happening, didn't we?
The Kathleen Kennedy stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit, and the Lucasfilm, and there's so many little things that keep sprinkling out constantly with this whole Kathleen Kennedy stuff. Do we want to start with the, well, you know what, let me pull up the Cosmic Book News one. The one we did a video on, and if you want to see that, I'm going to throw that on Patreon, and you might see it later at some point. We had a completely different version of this, with a special appearance by Pope Bob Iger himself. That's Kathleen Kennedy's face. That's not Bob Iger's face.
Bobby with you.
Bobby with you. But here we go. Star Wars Reset includes Kathleen Kennedy stepping down was part of it. Now, we had talked a little bit about this Cosmic Book News thing. We're going to skip over into the Bounding into Comics article, because this kind of feeds into a lot of some of these other rumors. This is just one more new piece of information here. Now, this one comes from John Trent over at Bounding into Comics. He's got this. Is this an exclusive? Is this a...
I'm not sure if it's an exclusive. I'm not sure if it's exclusive, but former Lucasfilm and Star Wars editor J.W. Rinsler describes Disney was all about control, fear, and paranoia. Now
that
he
like
does
Kathy,
this.
huh?
Now there is a podcast that he's on, the Forcecast July 8th edition. It's linked in the Bounding into Comics article. You can listen to that. Former Lucasfilm editor and author J.W. Rinsler. Now this guy he's a writer. He's been there a long time. Who wrote The Art of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, as well as Making Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, recently detailed what it was like under Disney compared to George Lucas. Rinsler also wrote and published The Making of Star Wars Definitive Story Beyond the Original Film, chatted with the Forcecast podcast about his initial rejections from various Lucas-owned companies, as well as the interview that eventually landed him position of editor of Lucas Licensing Book Division. Much of the beginning of the interview focuses on what led to the creation of Making Star Wars books. Rinsler details that Lucas was a pioneer and early adopter for quite a bit of new technology, including digital filming. Not only was he a pioneer, early adopter, but Lucas had kept extensive records for an anthropological stake dating back to the American Graffiti days, when he arrived after he was hired, pitched Making Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. He then detailed his pitch for Making the Sith book. Okay, it goes into time I got. He goes into the pitch. The time I got there, I was in the book department. The book department was, in a way, lagging behind all of that through nobody's fault. They were farming it out instead of doing it in-house. He added, when it came along, I think for the first time, I think most people in the department were more interested in Star Wars as a story, not how they were doing. I was like the first one, I think. I don't know for sure. At any rate, probably the first to come in and who wanted to know how they did the movies, interesting stuff. Rinsler stated, so when I met Rick McCallum was the former executive producer, I pitched him the idea of doing a behind-the-scenes book for Episode 3 that didn't just talk about the visual effects, but talked about everything from concept art to editing to spotting the music to the scoring to the release of the film. And Rick, bless his heart, just in the office, that moment said, yes, let's do it. He continued on. They hadn't released Episode 2 yet when I started documenting Episode 3. That's how it happened. Eventually, he got to know George Lucas after a long time. The other books. Okay, yada, yada, yada. He talks about the work environment under George Lucas. Well, I mean, what was great about Lucasfilm and working at the ranch and the big ranch and so on was there was a lot of autonomy. We were only 30 people in the licensing department. It changed. It fluctuated a little bit, but we were 3 or 4 people in publishing. And those 30 people more or less oversaw international, domestic, the entire Star Wars franchise, from toys to skateboards to t-shirts to bathroom products to all the books and comic books. Comic books that Kathleen Kennedy said didn't exist, remember?
Yeah. in those books. We don't have any additional. We don't have any material. I still kind of think maybe that was an underhanded shot at Bob Iger, though, for destroying it, for saying no, we can't use this.
Yes. Of course, publishing was only a small percentage of it. He continued. Rinzler added the big ticket stuff were the action figures, and then they started high-end replicas. I'm not sure when that started, but certainly it was a lot going on there. One of the things, actually, Gary over at Nerdrotic, big shout out to Gary at Nerdrotic. He had said that one of the big problems that Rinzler says in the Forcecast podcast was licensing. That is one of the big licensing. That's one of the big deals, big problems now at Star Wars is licensing the merchandise. What other franchise has problems with licensing?
Gee, would it be Star Trek?
Yes, it would be Star Trek. And
I like science.
Who else was involved with Star Trek?
Was it J.J. Abrams?
Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner.
Oh, my JJ picture doesn't work. Or it's so big that it doesn't work. Wow, I was just going to pull him up. Yeah, we just got a forehead, huh? Here we go.
Okay, well, we're going to jump down a bit, okay? Then, as reported by Disney Star Wars is Dumb, shout out to Ichibaka.
Oh, yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah. He contrasted this experience. Okay, he's described a very warm, family-like work environment at Lucasfilm when George owned it. Then, as reported by Disney Star Wars is Dumb, he contrasted this experience with Disney taking over Lucasfilm. Rinzler explained, when Disney came on, I will say this, I don't think it violates any NDA. I had been there for 15 years. I worked with George Lucas for those 15 years, and I couldn't see a script for the longest time for The Force Awakens. He continued, and it was just the polar opposite of ways of working. It was all about control and fear and paranoia. Not that Lucasfilm, we had some of that. I mean, it wasn't like it was heaven on earth, but it was far and away like day compared to night. And it was just so much easier. And we didn't torture the licensees.
Oh, ooh. Like by pushing a whole bunch of Force for Diversity dolls on everybody, and all of the little Rose Tico figures that nobody wants because of the Force and female.
He goes on, and then he continued to compare and contrast Disney with Lucas's style of management. Some of them could come in and read the script, talk about the licensees. They allowed the licensees to come and read the script. But the head person, whoever needed to read it for that company, could read it so that they knew what was going on. He concluded, and so there was just a lot of cooperation, a lot of sharing of information, and a lot of autonomy. I decided a book was done and good. It was done. It was published. So he's saying that the licensees the scripts would be under lockdown, and the licensees couldn't get access to it. Wouldn't it make sense that if you're going to make a toy on something, you would need to know about the character?
Yeah, you need to know so you can recreate the scene on your playset at home. But no, they don't care about that. They don't want to do that. And this makes a little bit of sense why we didn't have any Baby Yodas anytime at all, because they wouldn't even let anybody look at the scripts at all until after the fact, until after it was filmed.
Yeah.
Is that what they're pretty much saying? That they couldn't even see it until after it was filmed? Because because they were saying, no. We just didn't want any merch to go out.
We didn't want spoilers. They didn't want spoilers.
Yeah, they didn't want spoilers. But no. And okay, we get that. So they didn't want spoilers, but they also where am I going with this? I completely lost my train of thought.
They didn't want spoilers, but they also wanted to keep control over everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the other thing too is, it doesn't sound like Disney wants to get too chummy with the licensees. I mean, it looks like Disney wants to keep a lot of secrets in house, and they, like I said, they're control freaks. And Kathleen Kennedy seems like a control freak,
a little bit,
because she's the head of Lucasfilm. It all comes back to her. It's a failure of leadership from the top. Okay, people. That's what this comes down to. It is a failure of leadership. If you build hey, listen, if you built relationships with Hasbro, okay, then maybe they wouldn't have, decided, we're good with the Rise of Skywalker merchandise. But
one of all those Force for Diversity dolls that they have there.
Yeah,
as Jeff calls them. That's not what they're called. They're called, what are they? The Force of Destiny.
Force of Destiny, yes. Force of Diversity, yeah.
Which is really no different than Barbies. They're just basically Barbies.
Yeah, we heard at Midnight's Edge that we saw at Midnight's Edge. We did a video actually about this. That the reason why there's no very little merchandise for the Rise of Skywalker is because there was a script change at the last minute and they had to throw everything out.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know how true that is. We can't verify that, but I wouldn't be surprised if the reason why
all these pieces that come together, though, every single day we're getting more and more and more, right? We're getting
there's another piece here, another piece there, another piece of the puzzle. We're starting to get a bigger picture. We're starting to see the bigger picture. And I wouldn't doubt that the reason why we got the toys that we did was because that there was an alternate cut of the film, and the toys that there's like shared elements to it, and the toys we got were shared between those two versions. So,
do you want to look what it's like to work at Lucasfilm on Glassdoor.com? Revisit that one. I haven't made a video on that in a couple of years.
let's take a look. Glassdoor.com. I just linked
it to you.
Yeah, let's take a look at Glassdoor.com.
I want to know the negatives because there's a lot of positives here, but I want to see.
Well, we're seeing that. Yeah. Okay. I don't know who this person is. Oh, rated Kathleen Kennedy president. Notice it doesn't have a picture of Kathleen Kennedy. Chance to touch Star Wars is fantastic. Mostly great people to work with. Pros and pros. Cons: little pay, low pay, little chance of advancement. Shrinking margins for revenue and regular cycles of artist layoffs as work ebbs and flows. In the process of becoming true movie studio again, there are some growing pains regarding the upper management. Best culture. This is from October 2019. Best culture. I've been working at Lucasfilm full-time for less than a year. Pros: everyone at the animation is incredible. Such a family atmosphere that you wouldn't expect at a large studio. Cons: pay isn't the best for living in San Francisco. August 2nd. Great work environment. I've been working at Lucasfilm for less than a year. Well, great work environment. Sounds exactly the same.
Yeah, they almost sound fake, don't they?
More than 5 years. Talented, smart.
Look at a former employee, anonymous employee, went from the Jedi Council to the First Order. Can you see that one from May 2019?
May 2019. No, I went from Jedi Council to the First Order. Yes. Approves of CEO. I worked at Lucasfilm full time. Good, talented people. Nice location. Fun content. Cons: clicks, politics, game playing, pettiness, hyper scrutiny, secrecy to where upper management keeps their employees in the dark. Ooh. And I can't read more because of run the company like the Master Jedi, not the tyrannical Sith.
Ooh. And this is like a year ago. This is more than a year ago. I love seeing the cons. Former employee was great. Now just okay.
It's not what you think. 1 star. I worked at Disney Lucasfilm full time for more than 10 years. Met some good people, made some good connections. Cons: discrimination, HR witch hunts, cult-like mentality among the cliques, rampant gaslighting.
Ooh.
Doesn't recommend negative outlook, disapproves of CEO. No opinion of CEO. Inspiring atmosphere, but no growth or career path. Pros: fun, friendly atmosphere with creative people who are passionate about their work. Cons: low pay, little chance of advancement, shrinking margins for revenue, regular cycles. Artists. Okay, we've heard that before.
Layoffs, yeah. Well, gee, if you have to lay off your lower people all the time, maybe, make more money.
October 2018. Doesn't recommend, neutral outlook, disapproves of CEO, 10-year employee, talented good people, film industry, discrimination, politics, management, clicks, HR. We're seeing a pattern here. Somebody worked.
Next page. Is there any more?
There's more. It's okay. Oh, wait a minute. I have to sign up, but you get the idea. I can continue with the Google, but you get the idea. You can see these on Glassdoor.
You have to sign in with Google.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there's a pattern here. The complaints are mostly about the management, HR, the clicks.
Mm-hmm.
What have you been saying
Mm-hmm.
about the different factions with Lucasfilm?
Mm-hmm.
The clicks.
I mean, a lot of
like
you don't usually, like, whenever any of us run with any rumor things, it's because we have 3 or 4 sources. You know, I'll be on here checking the Glassdoor reviews, and, you know, like, Bounty in the Comics will be checking a podcast, and Doomcock will have somebody on the line that works there, or Gary or somebody, and Midnight's Edge will have a completely other source from, you know, the money side of things or whatever. And this is why we kind of come together, and we can usually get to the bottom of something pretty quick before the Access Media, who just wants to interview the JJs and the KKs, tend to do. 'Cause
No, they always say you want to know what someone's like, speak to someone who's worked for them, rather.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Do you have anything more to add to this?
Not really.
I guess I was gonna bring in the Leslie Headland stuff. That was another one. If I could find that tweet real quick.
You mean I have the official Lucasfilm Leslie Headland action figure now.
I don't even remember where my tweet was anymore about that. It's basically Leslie Headland was complaining that there's not enough seats at the table and that so many new voices aren't being heard. Yeah, that's everybody though. Your Hollywood is like such a teeny little percent of people. 99.999% of all people will never have the position of somebody like Leslie Headland or Kathleen Kennedy. You're in the right place at the right time, and you know the right people, and you're in the same group as the right people. That is it. I don't have any more privilege being the B in the alphabet as I would being anything going into Hollywood, because I don't know these people. I'm not in their clique. I'm not in their little group, in their little bubble. And the fact that like Leslie Headland's going in there and trying to make it so, oh, well, we need more, you know, women, and we need more alphabet communities making these Star Wars things. That's great, but you're only getting this little clique of people doing it. That's not diverse anything. That's the same little clique of knuckleheads that are going in making the Force and female.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Sorry, I just had to rant for a second. Tell us what you guys think in the comment section below. I am Becca Random 42.
And I am not surprised.
We'll see you guys later. Bye. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye! Mega Illuminati.